Hi everyone, this is Jennifer. I'm the director of Baca Wines and I'm so excited to be with you guys here again today. It's a beautiful Monday, June 15th, and we have a really fun Baca Instagram Live planned for us today. I've got two fabulous guests, Dominik Bianco, who is our grower relations manager. He's on our vineyards team. And then I've also got Chung, the CEO of Senreve, joining us in a few minutes too. We're going to be trying one of our wines from our lineup, our I Spy wine, which comes from Hell Mountain, a very special part of Napa Valley. And it is included right now in our 20% off sale on bacawines.com, part of our chill and grill set that we are promoting for the rest of June. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention and explain why we took a hiatus the last couple of weeks. So we decided, in light of all of the things going on in our country politically and in the world, that we would take a step back on all of our social channels to just let the conversation about race and injustice take more of a front stage. And we wanted to take a step back and let those more important conversations be had. We are excited to be back now, though, and we do believe that the wine business and wine in general brings people together. So we hope that we can be a bright spot in everyone's lives, as we know that there are a number of challenging things going on right now in our country and in the world. So for that, I would love to get us started and check in with our first guest today, Dominik Bianco, who is going to join us from our Hall Wines account, which is really fun because he not only does grower relations for Baca, but also for our Hall and Walt brands as well. He's going to be joining us from one of our vineyard sites, and there he is. Hey, Dominik.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How's it going?
It's good. It's a beautiful day.
It is. So this is your first time on Instagram, right?
This is, yeah.
We're really grateful that you chose to join us today on Instagram. And then to everyone who's joining us from the Hall Wines account, which Dominik is on, we are hosting our Baca Instagram Live today, talking about our I Spy wine. And Dominik, who is our head of grower relations, is joining us to talk about what's going on in the vineyard right now. So where are you, Dominik?
I'm actually in a Merlot vineyard in the middle
Oh,
of the valley. Yeah, right next to the Senza Hotel.
cool.
Yeah, it's growing like crazy right now. So,
I can
um,
see.
yeah, I show you some little baby grapes. Can you see them? No,
It's a
not
little
really.
bit
A little
blurry,
bit
but I
blurry.
think so. Can you show
Yeah,
us one more time?
sure.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah,
Yeah,
look at those. They're really
yeah.
pretty.
I know. Yeah, we're not far off from veraison, which is when the berries actually start turning color, so they'll start turning purple here pretty soon.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
When do you think that those grapes will hit veraison?
Maybe 3 more weeks, 3 or 4 more weeks.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, that's awesome. And then I know we've been really busy just with sort of what we call fruit set, right, in the last
Mm-hmm.
month. Can you tell everyone what that is?
Yep. So it's when the flower blooms, and then it actually self-pollinates, and then from that we get a berry, and then the berry starts to grow and mature, and it goes from accumulating acidity to accumulating sugar.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, and then I thought you could tell us a little bit about, I know you're not there right now, but the vineyard where this wine comes from, our I Spy, which comes from the Black Sears vineyard, I thought you could just tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. Yeah, it's an awesome vineyard. So it's at the end of a road on the top of a mountain. It's about 2,400 feet in elevation. It's in the Howell Mountain AVA on the Vaca Range, which is on the eastern side of the valley. It was planted in the 70s, and the Sears family, who owns it, they've been farming it since the 80s. And so they farm it biodynamically and organically, which is awesome. And then they believe in the whole ecosystem management. So you see lots of little critters running around, which is really cool. Some foxes and coyotes and rabbits and all kinds of different four-legged friends. Um, and it's all head trained and it's all dry farmed. So
And for
the
people that
the
don't know what that means, what does head training mean?
yeah, it's just a different style of. So if I show you the vines here, these are all on a wire system, and so they're managed very meticulously in two different directions. Head trained really just grows straight up to the sun and in all different directions. So you might have heard of like a gnarly vine
Mm-hmm.
where the spurs and the wood grows all over the place. It's the same exact style with this. And so they don't use any irrigation in the site, and the soils there are really limited in nutrition. So the vines really struggle, and the resulting wine is really concentrated and beautiful.
I completely agree with you. And people probably don't know because we do make two wines from Napa, but some people who are watching may not know that it's pretty rare to make Zinfandel from Napa. Can you talk a little bit about that and why that is,
Well,
or just
Napa
why some
actually,
people are growing other grapes?
sure, yeah. Well, it's really been dubbed the Cabernet growing region, and it's a absolutely perfect climate for Cabernet. And so that's really what Napa Valley is known for. But the most widely planted grape up on Howell Mountain in the 1800s was Zinfandel,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of the most widely planted grape varietals historically throughout California. So although now it's not exactly the king of Napa Valley, it at one point really was.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and we feel really lucky to be able to work with families like the Sears family from the Black Sears Vineyard to be able to preserve these. I mean, I would call them heritage vineyards,
Yeah.
that grow these Zinfandel grapes. So,
Yeah, all the old vines actually came from the Haynes Vineyard, which is one of the original plantings in Napa Valley. So it's a really cool historic vineyard, and it's a pleasure to be able to work with them and the vineyard itself.
yeah. Well, I think that's about everything that you have time for. I know you're really busy. Is there anything that you want to say to everyone before you leave about what's next or vineyard on the vineyards topic or anything?
No, I think it's a pleasure, and thank you all for drinking Baca wines.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dominic. I know I really enjoyed getting out in the vineyards because I'm in my kitchen right now. And that's just so beautiful where you are. And I'm sure everyone else has as well. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
See you
Take care.
soon. Okay, bye. All right. So I'm going to take Dominic off. Well, that was so fun. Dominic is just one of our really valued team members who his job is to bring in and talk to the growers that we work with around the state and around the area, and he does a really wonderful job. So now I'm going to invite Coral Chung to join me. She is the CEO of Senreve, a luxury women's handbag company that is made for the modern woman. While we wait for Coral to join us, I'll just say that Coral was a classmate of mine at Stanford as well. Hi, how are you doing, Coral?
Hi, how are you?
I'm
So
doing great. Nice to see you.
yeah, it's crazy to think that we all were at Stanford like together 10 years ago.
I know.
Insane. Yeah.
In some ways, it feels like just the other day, but then it also feels like a lifetime ago, too.
Well, what's interesting is when we have interns, it's summer, and even though everything's virtual now, we still have a
Mm.
great group of summer interns from Stanford and from a few other places. But yeah, some of them were born in the 2000s.
Oh my gosh, I know. It
Yeah.
really makes you feel old. Um, well, I don't want to talk for too long before us both pouring a glass of wine because we are here to also sip wine.
Sounds great.
So I think you have the wine with you, the I
Yeah.
Spy. Do
Yeah.
you? Okay,
Okay.
fabulous.
Give it a try.
Wonderful. So pour yourself a little glass of that, and we'll talk about it in a minute. but I mostly wanted to say cheers and welcome. And thanks for giving me time on this
Cheers
Monday. Cheers.
for having me.
Thank you. So good to see you. Well, one of the things that I do with everyone on this Instagram Live is we like to do a little rapid fire questions. So
Sounds
I know
fun.
told you I was going to do that, but I didn't tell you what questions I was going to ask you. So, so there's no wrong answers here. These are just one word answers, whatever comes to your mind.
Okay.
Okay.
I need to drink a little bit more for
Yeah,
this.
have another sip. Have another sip. Perfect. Okay. All right, we'll start easy. What are you reading right now?
So I actually just finished the Einstein biography by Walter Isaacson,
Mm-hmm.
and amazing. And honestly, I felt so inspired because it's all about how Einstein was such a rebel during his time, in the
Oh,
same way
that's cool.
Jobs was a rebel, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very Walter Isaacson style type of biography. And it's all about this idea that in order for him to come up with these crazy ideas like relativity, he really needed to be almost a rebel in all aspects of the way he thought about life and society. And that was really inspiring to me because I think starting a company and being an entrepreneur, it's all about
Mm-hmm.
really thinking about things differently and focusing on what is in the future and really thinking about what is in the past that doesn't work or you can change for the better. So yeah, I was really inspired. So I'm now reading Einstein's Dreams, with the really short book. I'm on an Einstein kick right now, and I also love reading about people who are really just brilliant, and the way they think is so fascinating.
I completely agree. I think that you know, what better way to get into someone else's mindset than to read a biography and just really understand them? You know, we think about Einstein as just this person that was universally accepted as being brilliant, but I'm sure that wasn't always the case in his lifetime. I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
there's a lot more to that, which I
yeah.
know
Oh,
nothing about.
it's really interesting because a lot of people thought that he was crazy. I'm sure he would have loved this line, by the way.
Oh,
This
good.
is really amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank
It,
you.
it's
Okay.
very it has such a nice, smooth, like it's really nice. It's really
Oh,
nice.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a huge fan.
Oh, good. Wonderful. Well, we'll talk about the flavors in just a minute, but I'm really glad you like it. Um, so, all right. Who is your favorite designer, not Senreve?
Ooh, that's so hard. I have so many. I really love well, okay, so there's a few. Gosh, this is okay. It's tricky because like I think you're asking I'm overthinking this question because like there's
No worries.
eras of certain designers. I mean, the classics like, Dior and Saint Laurent are amazing.
Uh-huh.
Marc Jacobs in the 90s was so breakthrough, right? So there's like so many different phases and eras. Um, I personally really love Alaya.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are some really interesting up and coming international designers
Mm-hmm.
that are really, really amazing, especially out in Asia. So yeah, but I have a lot of favorite designers in terms of depending on what category. But
Yeah, pick one. Doesn't matter.
yeah, depending on what category. But I don't know. I think you saw the dress that I wore to the Met Gala last year. That's
Which was
by a
amazing.
Sebastian Gunawan based in Indonesia, and he's really
Okay.
incredible for couture dresses. And his craftsmanship and just the detail, the beading, like you could just tell so much
Mm-hmm.
effort went into the product, and it's amazing. And he has a very brilliant and grand vision for everything he does, which I love too.
Oh, that picture, and I'm sorry I didn't save it on my phone to bring it up, but we do have it on our Instagram. It looks so
Thank
beautiful.
you.
I really want to ask you, well, I'll just ask you now, what was that like to go to the Met Ball? That looked amazing.
It was such a crazy experience. Honestly, if I could use one word, it would be just overwhelming. It was like sensory
I
overload.
bet.
And for somebody who loves fashion, is like a lifelong passionate follower of luxury and fashion, it was just like a kid in a candy store. I mean, I was just like gorging
Oh,
my because everybody looked so beautiful, and everybody had a flair of creativity, which I thought was amazing. And the theme last year was camp, which I think initially people were very confused about, but it was just incredible. And I honestly, it was like a dream, it doesn't seem real still. But I did this year, obviously it was canceled. It's the first time that it was ever canceled. And so on the day that it was supposed to be this year, which is always the first Monday of May, I did write a blog post about it on the Senreve blog.
Oh, cool.
What happened last year.
Uh-huh.
So if you guys are curious, I have some fun pictures from behind the scenes. You're not supposed to take any photos inside, but everyone was taking like iPhone pictures. So we're like,
sure.
But yeah, I did have some fun anecdotes from the night, because it was one of those things where I think back like, whoa, did that just happen?
Oh my goodness. Did you see Kim Kardashian with the jewels?
Yeah.
That was
We were actually,
incredible.
we were entering the dinner right behind it. So it was like Kim, and actually, I have to say she carried herself very professionally, and she was very quiet, even though she was clearly over the top with her outfit. She was very quiet personality wise. Her sisters were really over the top personality wise, like Kylie and I mean, they're young and they were just like way over the top. But we entered the dinner with her and Kanye, and then J-Lo and A-Rod, and Kim couldn't sit down because she was so
of course.
she had to be in one position the whole time. So they were trying to get everyone to sit down, and she was stand, and she just like she was just like, trying to look pretty.
She was
and
probably
still
sewed into that thing. I don't know
no,
how she could sit.
she couldn't bend, she couldn't like adjust. Yeah. It was crazy.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, someone's a J-Lo fan here. Yeah, she looked amazing. Honestly, like she is just ageless. It's incredible,
Aww.
And I mean, I guess her secret is she works really hard. She works really hard on her body, and she works really hard to take care of herself, but she is incredible. I think she's 50 now, right? Or over
Right?
50.
Well, I remember at the Super Bowl, people were talking about her age, and I think it was 50 or something close to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, she's amazing.
What a role model. Well, speaking of the role model, my next question for you is, who is your role model?
Okay, that's a really good question. I mean, I think that for me right now, I really look to a lot of other female entrepreneurs and successful female executives. So that to me those are the people that I really enjoy kind of hearing their stories, their war stories of having gone through it, whether it's growing their company or taking their company public. Those are the really interesting stories. So I love Fran, who is an advisor of ours. She was the former president of Coach North America, and she's the president of CKNY, and she's just really amazing. I love women who are very supportive and generous and giving to other women. That's a huge inspiration for me, and I think Senreve is all about that. So I really admire Fran for just always being there for me, which is really amazing. And I also love Emily White, who is the former CEO of Snapchat, and she's also a breast cancer survivor. Really, really inspirational. And so once in a while, if I'm feeling down, I just think about Emily, and I feel a lot better because she's just like amazing, the most optimistic person, so positive.
We all need that.
Yeah, and especially now, there are so many things to get you down. So yeah, Emily's really incredible, like a survivor, but also, a hustler and all of that, which I admire a lot too.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I completely agree with you. I think if women don't support other women, who's going to support women? We need to stick up for each other.
Yeah.
I think that's so important.
There are other things getting us down, other biological things, like you're going through that right now.
Yeah, just a couple things. Yeah.
To be in the wine business and to be pregnant,
That's true. That's true. There are other sort of things that you can't mitigate that are just natural.
Yeah.
Okay. So on a less serious note, what is the most unique food you've ever eaten?
Ooh. Okay, so I am a foodie, so I've had some crazy stuff. Um, I would say the most memorable and interesting one that I did enjoy and I thought was delicious was
Uh-huh.
the on a log at Noma in
What,
Copenhagen.
what was it?
The ants on a
Oh.
at Noma in Copenhagen. So Noma is this really cool restaurant in Copenhagen where I think for a couple years in a row it was considered like the best restaurant in the world or something like that. But I went with friends. This was maybe 5 years ago,
Hmm.
and they have this pretty well-known dish with little ants on like a
That's,
piece of
I've heard of that.
the
Yeah. Uh-huh.
cucumber. And the ants are a unique breed that I think they breed or something like that.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, but it was really, actually was really delicious.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was like I mean, it sounds crazy, but it had a citrus flavor that bursts in your mouth. And
Really?
yeah, and it made, it's almost drinking like wine actually, because it made your mouth salivate.
Wow.
Yeah, so then suddenly you're like, you just have flavors filling your mouth. But that was
So,
probably the coolest thing I had.
so
That
what was the log? So the ants were obviously ants,
it was
but what
like
was
a
the log?
little thin cucumber, like a little thin celery, like a little thin
Huh.
piece of vegetable that wasn't anything special. Yeah,
Oh,
but it was like
interesting.
a salad basically.
Wow, you are
Ants were
very
like the
adventurous.
croutons.
That's amazing. Okay, last question. What is your favorite bottle of wine you've ever had?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Or recently? I mean, I know that's a hard question.
Oh, I had it's such a it's so my father is really into wine. So I've been trying
Uh-huh.
to have some really amazing wines. Gosh, for Stanford, actually graduating from Stanford, he opened up a really amazing bottle of Chateau Lafite. And I remember it
Oh,
was
how nice.
perfect bottle of wine. It was like to celebrate our graduation. He
Uh-huh.
got to play golf and then he brought over a nice bottle. Um, but I have to say one of the really nice wines that I can remember was this is almost 10 years ago at a friend's wedding in Burgundy. And they had a Aisha for their wedding dinner, and it's still like one of my favorite memories. And so much about wine is like, you associate it with the
Totally.
experience and the people that you're with, and that was really special. Yeah, I was my
Oh,
friend, and I was her maid of honor, and it was really that's like a really special wine.
oh, and
Yeah,
to have that in Burgundy, how amazing.
yeah. Oh, it was incredible, and they're
Oh,
big into wine. Yeah, so every time we hang
oh,
out, they always have nice wine. Yeah.
oh, I love that. Oh, well, that's amazing and a great segue to talking about this wine. So this wine, Dominic talked about it a little bit earlier. It comes from Howell Mountain. So Howell Mountain is a really well-known. Let me see if I can pull up a picture. Um, really
Beautiful.
well-known AVA in Napa Valley. It is really rare to have Zinfandel from Napa Valley for the simple reason that if you're a grower, you can get more money if you sell grapes if they're Cabernet
Hmm.
rather than Zinfandel.
Hmm.
So a lot of it's been ripped up. So the families that still preserve it are really stewards of the land and really believe in creating wonderful Zinfandels. So this one comes from we call it I Spy. Each one of our wines has a different fanciful name. And we call this one I Spy because when you're on the valley floor in Napa and you're looking up at the mountain range, you could almost play the children's game I Spy to spot the vineyard.
Wow, that's cute.
So it's very high in elevation. You can see here the fog. This was in an early morning pick that we did, and it's 2,400 feet, which is above the fog line. So it gets that really nice, cool breeze, which just elevates the acidity in the wine. Let's see. I think we have a couple more pictures. There's one of our vineyard workers who's
Mm,
harvesting the wine
yeah.
or the grapes. It wasn't wine yet. And
Yeah.
then you can see a little bit of the mountainous curve here too. So some of the best vineyards in the country and in California really come from mountainside fruit because the vines themselves have to work harder and dig deeper into the soil, right, to
Yeah.
kind of stress the grapes. Um,
These
so,
photos are so beautiful, by the way. It's like
oh, thank you.
misty, and it reminds me of that movie do you know what I'm talking about? That Keanu
Oh,
Reeves
I know
movie?
you're gonna say walk in the clouds. Walk in the clouds.
Yes, exactly. Because it's like all misty, and I just remember that scene in the movie where they have these like
Yes,
little angel wings and they're
exactly.
fanning the
Well,
vineyard.
you know what they're doing? They're trying to spread the air so that they didn't get frost on the grapes because it's a real
Hmm.
problem if you get frost.
Yeah. So
Um,
you do actually do that, right?
so not with angel wings, but
Not with Keanu Reeves, but
and not with Keanu Reeves, although I would be totally down if that involved Keanu Reeves. Um, but you totally hit the nail on the head. This vineyard is very rugged. It's like a meadow. There's lots of herbaceous smells when you're there, and I think that really plays through in the wine. So when I talk about this wine, I say that it's like walking through a meadow. You know, you get
mm,
notes of sage
yeah.
and other kinds of spices. I mean, really well known for Zinfandel is bramble fruit, which is kind of like blackberry fruit,
Hmm. Hmm.
and also black pepper, which I get on this wine. But then you also
Yep.
get that other kind of herbaceousness
Yeah.
from this vineyard. So
Definitely. I feel like it's very um peppery, but it's so I actually really love Zinfandel, especially because especially like during the summer, there's something, yeah, it just makes my mouth water. Like it's really nice.
thank you. No, it is. It's mouthwatering because it's full. You know, it's a bigger wine, like it's full
Hmm.
body, but it still has that nice acidity. So you know, the acid sometimes makes your mouth water, and then it goes
Yeah.
really well with food too,
Yeah.
which is a great thing about being high in acid. Wow, gosh, time is going by so fast. So I did
I
want to
feel
play a game.
great with chocolate.
Oh, I agree.
Kind of feeling like I need a little piece of chocolate right
Oh, I know I should have said that. I should have said bring chocolate. I agree with you. Um, well, okay, so I have a little game to play. So this wine is called I Spy. So what I thought, and you know how to play that game, right? I Spy with my little eye. Okay. So we have a wine version of that. So I have a few pictures for you that are zoomed in for wine related items, and your job is to guess what they are. Some of them are easy, some of them are hard, so just, you know, don't expect to get them all right, but this will be fun. So
now. Hey, I love
here's the first one, and your job is to guess what that is.
oh, I see. I think it's the top of the bottle, right?
You are right. Well
Okay.
done. Yeah, it's just the neck of the bottle, just this
Yeah.
part zoomed in. Okay. All right. Now that we're warmed up, let's do the next one. Okay. And I realize I'm covering this, but what do you think this is?
Mm, I think it's some kind of like funnel, right? To filter the wine or something like that.
That's really close and it looks like it, but it actually is what we call
Oh,
a
yeah.
bung. So it's a silicone cap that plugs the little hole in a barrel. Yeah.
Mm.
That one was really hard, I
I mean,
realize. Okay, so our third I Spy picture is this one.
mm, um, I think that's just a pour or glass or like a decanter.
Very, very close. It could be a decanter. What it actually is, we call this in the wine business a wine thief. And what it does is it actually sticks down into a barrel while the wine's either fermenting or aging. And it's
Mm.
a way of pulling out wine from a barrel before it's bottled so that you can taste it. So the winemakers use that as a way to kind of taste the wine as
Oh,
it's aging.
nice.
Um, okay, here's our last one. Okay, see if you can guess what this is.
Oh, I think that's like a leaf with some like frost on it, like a grape leaf or some kind of vineyard picture with a
Okay,
grape.
that is a really good guess. You totally got it. That's a Zinfandel cluster with grape leaves next to it.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. And by the way, I love the taste of wine grapes. I
Oh
know
yeah, when they're
because they're
from
always
the
using
vine.
wine, but I love the taste of like they're so flavorful. They're way more tasty than typical grapes, I think.
Totally. Well, because especially when they're coming from great vineyards, they're stressed. So the ratio of liquid to skin to pulp is a lot higher. So it's not
Hmm.
diluted. You know, it's really powerful. It packs a
Oh
punch.
yeah, it's so flavorful. It actually reminds me of like I don't know, the childhood grapes that I used to have. I feel like the grapes that you get at grocery stores have evolved in a different direction. Like they're sweeter and there's not as much flavor. Anyway.
I completely agree. Yeah, they just feel like diluted or something.
Yeah, yeah. It's like sugary, but not much flavor.
Yeah. Well, thanks for playing that game with me. We have time for a few more questions. So we got one from one of our listeners who this is just for you. What kind of outfit would you style to match the Baca bottle?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think I have it here. I mean, I feel like this is a really great, beautiful label. Jen, if you did a good job.
Oh,
I,
thank you.
I
Thank you
think
very
I
much.
think it goes with a lot of different outfits. Personally, I'll show you. I actually have the Senreve Aria bag in Bordeaux. We have a couple of wine colors, and this goes really well. These two together
Ooh.
because they're kind of like bold colors.
Oh, they do. That's perfect. I love it.
So this one's the Bordeaux, and then we have a lighter red that's the Merlot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good names. I like it. Aw. Um, well, I would love to know kind of what you guys are doing at Senreve. I know that you are very socially conscious as a company.
Yeah.
And I know you've instituted some things that you're doing both for the Black Lives Matter movement and also for COVID relief.
Yeah.
I know you also, just like we do, we believe really strong in sustainability. So I thought I would just hear from you about what kind of stuff you're doing at your company.
Yeah, happy to share more. So for the folks who don't know, Senreve, we're a direct-to-consumer luxury brand, launched about 3.5 years ago. And actually, I started contemplating the idea while Jen and I were still at Stanford. So I did a lot related to this, and I also worked at Prada. And so Senreve, we manufacture everything in Italy, and it's a luxury product. We focus on handbags, and we have a variety of styles, but it really is the combination of something that's luxurious with practicality and design, and it's meant for the modern woman. So Senreve means sense and dream, and it's this idea of dichotomies coexisting, that you could have something dreamlike that's still appropriate for everyday and sensible. And the pillars that we really founded the brand on is around empowerment, around freedom, innovation, and elegance,
I
and
love that.
really infuse. It's a really actually memorable and kind of fun acronym that we call wifey with two e's, but it's kind of an inside joke that we have on the team. But anyway, it's this idea that as a brand we do take a very active stance in everything that aligns with our brand values. And so starting with empowerment, we really focus on empowering women, not just through our products, but also through our brand messaging, and making sure that we have a lot of diverse models. We feature and work with a lot of diverse celebrities and influencers. We focus on women that are, sophisticated, substantive, intelligent, and they tend to have very multifaceted lives, right? And it's all about the idea that you could be, a beautiful winemaker, you could be a beautiful executive, you could be a mother, you could be a lot of different things. And oftentimes women are siloed into one arena
Mm-hmm.
or another. And I think it's really challenging to break out of that. And so we really try to support women and conversations, and making sure that the brand represents all of that. And COVID has hit us really hard. Thanks, Catherine, for the question, actually. So we were really this and had established a lot of success, big partnerships with retailers like Nordstrom and Neiman Marcus, and even Apple, really expanded globally. So actually a sizable part of our business is outside of the US now. Yeah, it's for a
That's
brand that's
wonderful.
ours, about 30% of our business is outside of the US, which is pretty substantial. And so we tend to have women who love our products in big cities like London or Hong Kong, Singapore, like Sydney. But yeah, COVID has hit us really hard because we manufacture everything in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And so our factory in Italy was shut down for about 2.5 months.
Oh,
And
that's really tough.
yeah, it obviously hit us really hard in the US, but in Italy it's been really devastating because you know, their entire economy is based on several different things, right? Tourism, manufacturing, the luxury sector, which has all been hit really hard. And several, thankfully, our partner there works with pretty large and established brands, and so they're able to survive through this. But definitely, some smaller workshops have closed and will likely not reopen, which is really sad. Um, I think I think for us, we're grateful that they just recently reopened, but operationally, it's been still challenging because a normal factory floor, for example, or a normal workshop, let's say it could host 100 people, is cut down to like 30 to 50, right? So their output, all of that has changed, which have caused a lot of challenging things for us. So we're trying to just always communicate to our community and make sure that they're aware of the situation. And thankfully, we have amazing women who are super understanding and very supportive of us getting through this. And yeah, so we're grateful for that. We also have a flagship store in San Francisco that we had to shut because of shelter in place, and actually there were several break-in attempts and things like that, so we had to board that up. But yeah, recently in support of Black Lives Matter, we actually painted a beautiful mural with a quote from Maya Angelou, and again, it's just an example of how we really try to do what we can, to support the movements and the important things that are happening during this really crazy time. And we're also just grateful that as a business and as a brand, we were healthy going into some of these crises that have happened in the last few months. And so thankfully for that, but a lot of companies, unfortunately, were not in a great position, right? Even really established ones like Neiman Marcus, which, they just announced their bankruptcy, which obviously has affected our business with them as well. So
I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy things going on, but I think entrepreneurship is about survival. It's about being creative, and we're feeling like constraints really breed creativity. So we're trying to do that. But we've also been really active, as you mentioned, in terms of donating masks and PPE to hospitals. Really doing a lot to help support the Black Lives Matter movement. So for the rest of June, we're donating a portion of proceeds to two organizations that we really believe in, the Loveland Foundation, which I think, Jen, you also donated.
I've also supported, yes.
Right? Yeah, it's an organization that supports psychological and mental health for women of color, which I think is so important, and it's an underfunded area. And the Conscious Kid, which again, I think racism and biases and things like that start very early, and as a mother, I'm always learning about, gosh, even at 2 or 3 years old, children form a lot of impressions. And if you don't actively have a dialogue with them, which can be uncomfortable, they end up, having certain understandings of the world that is not actively kind of discussed, right? Because so many, I think historically, so many people have discouraged those types of conversations, or they're kind of uncomfortable. It's like
they're uncomfortable.
Yeah, in some ways, it's like talking about the birds and the bees with your teenager. It's just a really hard, uncomfortable conversation, but you really have to do it. And so I'm learning a lot, about the books to read to my daughter, the conversations to have, and she's 7, so she asks a lot of thoughtful questions, and is always curious about what's going on in the world, right? And as you know, you have a daughter as well, they key off you and how you're responding to the world. So
yeah, it's not even so much what it is that you're saying to her, although that's a big part of it, I think, but it's what kind of model do you want to be for your children and for others.
Exactly. Yes. And they're very observant about how you handle certain situations, and I like the idea of I think several people talked about this, but looking back on 2020, right, years from now, let's say 10 years from now, right, since the last time we hung out at Stanford 10 years ago, 10 years from now,
yeah.
Like, when my daughter's in her teens, right, let's say she's graduating high school, I want to be able to have a conversation with her as an adult about, like, hey, this is this was what we felt was important. You know, this was what I felt was important as a leader for my company, and this is what Senreve did. You know what I mean? I think it's really important to think about that. And again, we do it in a way that aligns with our values of empowering women, supporting women. And so that's our focus. I think other companies and organizations do it in a different way. But our team has really, you know, we've really galvanized and brainstormed and try to think about creative ways we can contribute positively.
And that's so commendable. I love what you guys are doing, both internally as a company and then also, you know, with consumers too. And I think it is so important what kind of values you stand for as a company. You know, for us, we have always been big supporters of local legal aid foundations that really help different populations. And then we have a family, which is so important. You know, I also have a law background, and I think there's so many people who need help with their legal issues and justice, especially now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then we have a foundation too that also supports a number of other really wonderful things. But I just want to say thank you for not only coming on today and having some fun and talking about some wine with me, but also getting into some substantive issues about what you guys are doing right now in the world. And I just want to say my hat's off to you. Well done with what you've created. And I agree with you. I think times are tough, but this is really what breeds creativity. And now is going to be such a great time to figure out how to, you know, adapt even more to that next level for your company, and then also for us too. But
yeah, I think there's so much change happening, right? So it's just there's these macro shocks, and as an organization, survival means having to adapt and change and innovate. And for us, it's accelerated a lot of the things that we had talked about doing in our 5 to 10 year plan, right? So suddenly it's happening today. And I think that's pretty crazy. And I think you mentioned sustainability. I'd love to hear about what you guys are doing with sustainability, but for us, we've really accelerated our sustainability initiatives, and we define it more broadly. The program that we it's called A Sense for Good. And so, you know, it's about the environment, but it's also about ethical labor. It's a lot of different things, you know, really auditing our supply chain to understand the areas of improvement, as well as launching our vegan product. As I mentioned, I actually didn't know that you were vegan. And
I know. Yeah.
and it's so interesting because more and more women are embracing that, you know, for their diet or for their fashion. And we felt like it was really important and missing in the market that, you know, luxury products are typically not vegan, right? People have an impression of vegan as it's antithetical to luxury. And so we want to break that barrier. And so what we've done is we've taken 100% non-animal materials and used luxury construction and a luxury process so that the end result really looks and feels like a extremely high quality luxury bags, because it is, but it's a non-animal, not like, and it's 100% vegan, meaning that it's crazy, but there are vegan products out there that actually have some animal byproduct. And so they call it vegan, but it's actually, they don't ever say it's 100% vegan.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so we discovered this as we were trying to create process and product, but we had to really innovate, and you know, I felt like it was really important. So that's a big initiative.
Right, if you're going to do it, you should just go full throttle. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So that's launching fully in July, which is super exciting for us.
Oh, and that's so soon. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'll just briefly mention on our end, we have the first Gold LEED certified winery in all of California. It was a number of years ago when we first opened it. But that's one. In our farming, we're either all organic or sustainable, which sounds like a throwaway, but it's actually very difficult. In farming, especially when you have you know, the grapes that go into this, and also our Pinot Noirs are very delicate, so not using chemicals in those is quite difficult. And then also in our practice as a company, you know, we don't use, this sounds so silly, but we don't use plastic water bottles. We only have cans or other more recyclable items that we use. So we are looking for ways, both big and small, to make a difference, which I think it's going to take all of us to do that.
Absolutely. And it's a journey, I think so many brands or so many companies are just looking for like a very simple kind of soundbite version, which it's not. Once you dig into it, there are so many layers, and I think it's all about the little things, as you say, because that really matters a lot.
Totally, because as an entrepreneur or anyone in business, there's a million decisions you make every day about packaging or things you're ordering for your office, and you can always make a more sustainable choice. So
yeah, for sure. And for you, I mean, it's there's a lot of actually logistics too. For us, there's a lot of logistics and that kind of minimizing the carbon footprint. Yeah, so there's a
totally,
lot to
when you're in manufacturing, for sure.
mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but it's been so wonderful, Coral. I've really enjoyed it. Cheers to you.
Cheers
Thanks for joining.
having me. It was so good to see you, and I'm so excited for you and next week and
thank you.
The big day.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, I'm expecting my second child. My due date's next week, so yes, very exciting.
So exciting. On top of everything else that's going on, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, cheers, Coral. See you soon.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining me here today. Like Coral mentioned, I am expecting my second child next week, so I won't be hosting more Baka Instagram Lives for a little while, but we are going to have some wonderful guest hosts from our team who are going to be hosting you guys going forward, and we are going to be keeping this going for the foreseeable future. We've got our Baka, our Waltz and Hall Instagram Lives this week. And then this Friday on Facebook, we are hosting Martin Short for a really fun tri-branded Facebook Live with my mother. And that's going to be a blast. So I hope you all take care. The wine we had again today was our I Spy wine that comes from Hell Mountain. It's a very special wine. We still have it available, and it is part of our 20% off chill and grill sale going on our website. If you have any questions, please let us know, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much.